Welcome back to Washington Journal. We're joined by Representative Melanie Stansbury. She's a Democrat of New Mexico, member of the Oversight and Government Reform Committee and the Natural Resources Committee. Congresswoman, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Republican Matt Van Epps won the Tennessee 7th District special election yesterday. What was your reaction?
You know, I don't think it's any surprise that he won. Trump won this district by 22 points, and the former representative did nearly as well. But I think what is the real surprise here is that he only won by 9 points. And this should not have even been close. In fact, the Republicans, just to hold on to the seat, had to spend millions of dollars, and Trump himself had to spend over $1 million from his PAC. And I think what this indicates is heading into the midterms that seats that Republicans thought were a sure bet for them are no longer secure. And this means it's time to get to work, and we're ready to take back the House and take back every seat we can.
Do you think that the Democrats will take back the House?
I think under the current maps, Democrats are leading in the polling on every single issue because the Republicans passed their big ugly bill, which cuts health care, it cuts food assistance, it cuts educational assistance, it gives tax breaks and gives giveaways to billionaires, and I think the American people are fed up. So
those maps are the big question.
Yes, exactly.
Let's talk about Venezuela. You're on Oversight and Government Reform. Lawmakers have been pressing the Trump administration for justifications for those strikes. There was also the question of that follow-up strike in September. Do you believe that the White House has provided legal justification for those strikes?
The White House hasn't even provided a consistent story at this point. You know, every day, every hour, they seem to be changing their story. I think what is obvious at this point is the chain of command was the president and the Secretary of Defense. And that second strike violated at least the military code and likely international law, as well as potentially domestic law and potentially being murder. And so there are now 2 bipartisan investigations in both the House and the Senate to look into what was known. You know, I saw a Secretary of Defense claim during the cabinet meeting yesterday that he didn't witness it. I don't care if he witnessed it or not. If he gave an order to kill civilians or combatants who were in the water who were unarmed, that is a violation of the law, and he will be ultimately held accountable.
Now, the argument is made that previous administrations have done this kind of thing all the time, and nobody said anything.
Well, I don't know what they're referencing, but certainly, first of all, the administration has not even come to Capitol Hill to seek a declaration of war. They are claiming that they are waging a war on drug cartels in Venezuela without any definition of what that means. There are classified documents that they provided to the Hill, and as far as we can tell, they are trying to stretch the law to justify basically doing extrajudicial killings off the coast of Venezuela. And what is it in service of? It appears to be in service of regime change, not in service of actually seeking a declaration of war. We are not at war with Venezuela or its people. And so it's very clear that this administration does not think they have to follow the law, whether that's international law, domestic law, or military law. And that is why members on both sides of the aisle are deeply disturbed, not only about this killing in September, but the overall scope of what the administration is trying to do in Venezuela. And it's clear violations of the Constitution and violations of the law.
Congresswoman Melanie Stansbury is in the studio with us. She's a Democrat of New Mexico. If you'd like to join our conversation, you can start calling in now. Republicans are on 202-748-8000. Democrats 202-748-8000. Republicans 8001, Democrats 8000, and Independents 202-748-8002. The administration has called these narco-terrorists, that they are killing Americans. There's been 100,000 Americans killed in overdoses. Where do you stand on that? And that, you know, the argument is made is that any bit of drugs that are being stopped and not being allowed to flow into the United States is a good thing.
Well, I guess my question, and I think the question on everyone's mind, is if the president is so concerned with narco-terrorists, why did he just commute the sentence of one of the most notorious narco traffickers under American law with the commuting of the sentence of the Honduran president just in the last few days? I mean, this man was known to have helped traffic literally tons of narco products into the United States. Secondly, there's no clear evidence that these boats are engaged in narco trafficking to the United States. But most importantly, the US Constitution is clear. If you want to go to war with a foreign nation, you have to come to Congress. It has to be debated before Congress, and Congress holds the authority to declare war, not the administration. And I appreciate efforts to address drug trafficking. I represent a border state in New Mexico, and fentanyl has had a absolutely devastating impact on our community. But what we know is that the vast majority of fentanyl products are crossing the physical land border between Mexico, and the way that we address that is by going after drug traffickers on the border, by preventing those products from making it to Mexico from China through, negotiations with the Chinese government, not conducting extrajudicial killings of Venezuelan fishermen off the coast of South America.